Couple videos we've talked about how standard form is a sum. You can just look at it and see what the leading coefficient is. And factored form, you have all these parentheses and you have to ignore the smaller power in each of those parentheses to determine what the leading coefficient is. We also discussed how the leading coefficient test says that on the right hand side we look at the coefficient, and as our intuition would tell us, if that's a positive coefficient, it will rise. If it's negative, it will fall. And the leading coefficient first will tell us the right hand side. Then our left-hand side will be determined by the degree. If the degree is even, it's going to be the same because, again, positive or negative to an even power gives you the same sign. And if it's an odd, then the opposite will happen because positive and negative to an odd power gives you different signs or opposite signs. So if you look at a question like 37 here, the first thing that you should notice is that you have all these little parentheses. And so that means that it is in factored form. So because it is in factored form, you can't just look at it and know what to do or what the leading coefficient is. What you need to do is you first need to ignore all those smaller powers that you have inside of each of the parentheses. So the -5, no parentheses there, nothing to ignore. The x squared minus 1, the constant is always going to be the smallest power. So -1 we'll ignore, -1 here we will ignore. So that will give us that our leading term is equal to -5 times x squared times x to the second power, which of course gives us -5x. We have an x squared times another x squared, so an x to the fourth. Now, once we've identified our leading term, then we use the coefficient, our an, to determine what happens on the right-hand side. So because this is negative, that is going to tell us that it falls on the right-hand side. And then we use our power to determine what happens on the left-hand side. So because our power in is even, that is going to tell us that we have the same behavior. And so that same behavior, if it's falling on the right, that means that it will fall on the left-hand side.